All right, welcome back, Gen Xers. The purpose of this video is to illustrate that being alone is not a defect in a person's life, but a preferable option to an unrealistic or unfulfilling relationship that has the sole benefit of preventing you from being alone. Hey, Gen X Crow. Today, I want to talk about something we all will most likely face sooner or later, and that is being alone. So, I live alone overseas, and I'm not lonely. But here's the twist. Don't laugh. I've found a way to thrive. I call it the Gilligan's Island approach to life. So let me see what we put on my Gilligan's Island hat. What's that? You remember those 7 stranded castaways? Each had a role that kept the whole group alive and well. I realized that I could develop all these character roles in order to thrive alone on an island in the Indian Ocean. I did make a few changes, so let's review this cast of characters that I have. First, there's the skipper, setting the directions, keeping the boundaries, working hard. Then there's the ginger in me, taking care of my look good as much as possible without too much effort or cost. The professor and the investors, problem solvers, resourceful, expertise, watching out for money and mental health issues. Then there's Marianne, whimsical, practical, fun-loving, has a great work ethic. And then Gilligan, of course, funny, clumsy, and lovable. I allow myself the grace of being a child like Gilligan-ish, I guess. I'm not ashamed of being naive in my new country. But there's one change, and that is the professor's wife. I don't really remember her role very much, or her name. I think she was funny. I would have to say that this exception to my group of castaways needed a more dynamic individual, and so I changed out the professor's wife for Mrs. Roper. Remember her from Three's Company? And Mrs. Roper expanded my view of older people when I was a child. She was witty and emotionally courageous and sexually frustrated. I think I remember that. And of course, resilient. I loved her humor and style. And honestly, sometimes the comfortable, flamboyant muumuus that I now wear make me laugh and thank Mrs. Roper for showing me that growing older doesn't mean having to shrink. So 25 years ago, saying that I had adopted multiple roles for living alone out loud might have sounded a bit odd or even alarming. But now we know we're all multifaceted, evolving people. We continue to grow and change our entire lives. This is not how I envisioned my life, actually. I never planned on living alone. I was in a forever relationship until I wasn't. And after my divorce in 2016, I felt like dating was a sport I no longer enjoyed playing, but that I was supposed to somehow be in that game. I grew up watching Fantasy Island and Love Boat, where relationships were about personal growth and morality. Well, you're not going to find that now. After my divorce and several very disappointing relationships, I realized that I was still chasing that love boat fantasy island ideal. So I asked myself, what if I became my own best friend, my own traveling companion, my own sidekick? And that question changed everything. Through journaling, I digested my relationship experiences, and I started building an inner dialogue with myself that was kind and supportive and funny. Really funny. Over time, I gave myself a bigger role in my own happiness. By the time I left the US this past June, I had 4 pillars that were holding me steady somewhat, that I wanted to stay connected to. And that was connection to myself through journaling, self-discovery, and a strong inner dialogue of compassion and care. Connection to nature through hiking, swimming, sunsets, pets, the beauty of this world. A connection to people, friends and family, and an intense desire and curiosity for new people and culture. And then finally, a connection to creativity, writing, filming, creating. Creativity frustrates me and delights me simultaneously, giving me a sense of flow that I can lose myself in. And it's one of the primary reasons I became an expat. Okay, Gen X, truth or dare? Truth? What show did you watch between ages 4 and 12? And how did those role models shape your expectations? Have you used one of those shows, characters, to reframe your own life? If you chose dare, watch a few episodes of a favorite series from that time period with someone younger. Tell them what life was like for you at their age. You know what? You might have to bribe them with like pizza or ice cream or something, and that's just fine. Because this is about passing on this life, this information, this experience. Because being alone, I have learned, doesn't mean being lonely. It can mean being connected to myself, to nature, to other people, to creativity. If you'd like to explore this kind of self-awareness, I'll share links to the book I use and the journaling platform that supports me daily. Until next time, have fun, stay curious, and know that you don't have to be stranded on a desert island to thrive. But if you are, develop a cast of character traits to meet your own wants and needs. Till next time, enjoy.